Mississippi can lead the nation in terms of the reforms that can bring about rising student achievement. And the governor's, I think, on the right track, and it seems like there's a lot of interest in the legislature to build on a first session that started down the journey of education reform, and I'm pretty excited about it.
What can Mississippi do differently?
What should it do differently? I think this year, for starters, grading schools in a way that moms and dads understand will bring accountability. The idea of having third grade be a gateway so that children aren't functionally illiterate when they go to fourth grade, when they start learning things, is a huge element of this. Looking at how you can compensate teachers for a job well done rather than just longevity of service is another element of this. Comprehensive reform requires a whole suite of reforms, and Governor Bryant is on the right track for all of this. I love the fact that Governor Bryant asked Mississippi State to really do a thorough review around the country of what's happening. Florida's one place to look at, Tennessee's another, Louisiana, Indiana, and to be able to craft a thoughtful policy. He has a focus group of teachers, which is hugely important, very smart to do that. So to implement a plan where teachers are paid more for student learning and where they're paid more for serving in underserved areas, or where they're paid more because they're really good math and science teachers, which we have huge shortages of, is really the right way to go. And so I think without it, you're not going to get the kind of learning gains that everybody wants here in Mississippi.
People think that charter schools don't work, and they may not work in some places, and normally good charter school laws, when they don't work, you get to close them, which is what we ought to be doing. Failed schools shouldn't exist, period. They should be closed, and better alternatives should come. But in the case of Florida, with like-kind students, in fact, a little bit higher number of lower-income students than the average, our elementary school and middle school students read in charter schools at a significantly higher in middle school, slightly higher in elementary school level than the traditional public schools. By the way, charter schools are public schools. They take all comers in the state of Florida, or every other place I'm aware of. They don't cream off the top. These are independent public schools that don't have as many of the rules that make it more burdensome in many cases. So the net result of the NAEP test since 2003, Florida is 5th in the country in closing the gap between, based on economic status as well as race. We have the 4th largest gains among African American students in the country. We have the 3rd largest gains for low-income students in the country. And we have the largest gains for students with disabilities in the country. The main reason for that is they're included in our accountability system. Every child in the school counts. And when you do that in the accountability system, guess what? Every child in the school counts. And the teachers then can't just cast aside kids or put them in the classroom where they're just kind of babysat, but there actually has to be a focus on learning gains with students with disabilities. This is a comparison of Florida Hispanic students to the average in the 4th grade reading of other states. Today, in 2009, Florida was equal to or better than 21 states in the country for Hispanic students. So as our country changes and rural school districts in Mississippi begin to deal with the challenges of a burgeoning Hispanic population, which I know that you all are experiencing, don't assume that these Hispanic kids, these Latino kids, don't know how to learn. They do. Again, God didn't say, okay, sorry, you just recently came to our country. You don't have the capacity to learn. These are gifts that every child has. And if you start with the premise that they can learn, you'll end up getting a far better result. Far better to do that than isolate them in bilingual education programs where they never start to learn English, where we think we're doing them a favor. California kind of has been the model for that. I like the Florida model a little bit better, where you're moving towards getting mainstreaming these kids as fast as possible, putting them into the accountability system, and I guarantee you'll get that kind of result.